Hello and welcome to the Kayden Gordon Show, today's best country mix. And joining me today here is Ross Webb. Ross, how are you?
Good, thanks, Kayden. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you for asking. So kind of tell us a little bit about yourself to get started.
Yes, I'm from Australia. Work a day job as a banker, believe it or not. So I'm actually just sort of started off the day here at my normal job. But playing music for probably the last 8 or 9 years. My wife reckons it was a bit of a midlife crisis, but got into music. Always loved music, have been sort of releasing and recording music since probably 2015. I'd say would be the earliest I was doing it. So apart from that, just gigging around local areas where I live. So good fun.
Wonderful, wonderful. So do you have any new singles or any upcoming projects you want to talk about?
Yeah, I've got we just released a single here in April, just before Anzac Day, which is very similar to your Memorial Day. It's a cover of a song called I Was Only 19. And it was a song that was originally recorded by a band called Red Gum. And it's a story of Vietnam vets and what they went through, how they sort of, from an Australian point of view, how they got to the Vietnam War through subscription and so forth. And it's just a really, really powerful song. And we released it, as I said, about a week before Anzac Day, which is the 25th of April here in Australia. Mm-hmm. And I know you guys are celebrating Memorial Day shortly. And it's just a really apt song for those sort of days to sort of celebrate what people went through during that period.
That's awesome. And considering that, do you guys celebrate Memorial Day in Australia? I don't think you do.
Sorry?
I don't think you guys celebrate Memorial Day in Australia, do you?
No, our equivalent, as I said, is Anzac Day, and that's the 25th of April.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah. So it's Anzac Day. What that was it was basically a day from the First World War that New Zealand soldiers basically landed on a beach in Turkey and literally got slaughtered. So it was sort of a Memorial Day for those guys, but it sort of evolved a celebration then of servicemen and women that have represented Australia during or since that day in all sorts of wars and peacekeeping efforts and so forth. So
that is just absolutely awesome. And I think it's super important to honor those, in the war.
Oh, it is. I've actually we were in America nearly 8 years ago now, and they celebrated Memorial Day, and I was a little bit, not ignorant, but I wasn't aware that it was a Memorial coming up, but I wasn't sure the actual day. And I just remember I was actually at a baseball game in Albuquerque, and just the importance you guys put on it over there and how you celebrate servicemen and women is just outstanding. Like I was gobsmacked the day I was at the baseball, and just what they did to recognise servicemen and women, and it was just a really, really, it was hair on the back of your neck standing up sort of moment, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. So, do you want to talk a little bit about any hobbies or interests you have outside of music?
I mean, I was heavily involved in sport.
Okay.
I probably got too old to play. Like I played a lot of what we call rugby league over here, so I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but
no,
it's our version of gridiron or NFL, but it's played very differently, of course. So I played a lot of years, and now the body just doesn't like anything like that anymore. So
yeah,
that's gone by the wayside. But I guess that's where my music sort of replaced what, I said I was always very active in sport up until I was probably mid-30s to 40, and music replaced that for me. So that's where it sort of took over, and I've released a bunch of singles since probably 2018, I think it was. I think I've got about 7 or 8 singles out there, and looking to actually release just a new one now here in Australia, even though it's pretty close to the one I was just talking about. We've got a new song released next Tuesday called Love Yourself, and it sort of looks at mental health and how it affects individuals, but also their families and friends. So looking forward to see how that goes as well.
Awesome. So where do you see yourself in the next couple of years? Do you have a goal set for yourself, Ross?
Look, I'd love to. I mean, here in Australia, similar to America, there's a lot of festivals that musicians play, and our circuit in Australia is obviously not as big as what it is in the US. But at the moment, I'm sort of gigging locally and sort of have a couple of sort of little festivals under my belt. I'd love to be able to perform on a bigger stage. Obviously, that's the ultimate goal. Some recording over in the US would be sort of another little bucket list item I'd love to do. Now, whether that's in Nashville doesn't necessarily have to be. I actually work with a few guys that are down in Georgia, actually. Yeah, they put together a lot of the instrumental stuff that I've used, particularly on this new song that I'm releasing here in Australia on Tuesday. They did all the instrumental for that, and they're great guys. So I'd really love to actually get over there again and actually physically get into the studio and work with those guys. So that'd be definitely a bucket list item for myself.
Definitely. Do you have any advice for those who might want to start singing but doesn't really know how to start, Ross?
Just have a crack. I mean, a good friend of mine, he was into the industry for quite some time, and he actually kept on encouraging me to basically take the leap of faith and have a go. He helped me out, particularly through the initial stages. Like, he got me up on stage with some of his gigs just to sort of, get a bit of a taste of it. And then, to be honest, it's just one of those things. If you've got a passion for it, I just think you've got to have a go at it, because otherwise you don't want to live with regrets. And I look at this and see it's something that I've always wanted to do. And look, don't get me wrong, it's a tough gig, and you've got to persevere with it, because you get a lot of rejections from whether radio, whether it's music events, but you just got to believe in what you're doing, and eventually other people will sort of get what you're trying to achieve, and sort of you gradually build your audience. And just, as I said, perseverance is one of the big things you got to have, and a thick skin.
Totally. So, if you could go open a show for any artist, Ross, who would you choose, and why do you choose them?
Oh, that's a good question. It's between two American artists.
Okay.
One would be Stapleton, because I absolutely love Chris Stapleton. And the other one is a band that's sort of only been around for the last couple of years, and it's Midland.
Oh, yes, Midland.
Really love their music and what they're doing at the minute. And they're actually touring Australia later this year, so I'm going to see them when they come out. So I can't wait for that. But yeah, definitely be between those two. Chris Stapleton, I must admit, I really love what he does.
Yes, Chris Stapleton has a really good voice.
And he's not only just when he's, I mean, obviously he was a songwriter for years. He's wrote a gazillion songs, but even his music when he was in bands like the Steel Drivers and so forth, like, it's just really good music. And as you say, his voice is so unique, and it's just a great voice.
Yes, I mean, it has a really, really great voice. He sure does.
And his wife, I must admit, the two of them together sound absolutely superb too. I mean, she's very underrated, I think, in some of the stuff she does. But she's a brilliant singer in her own right.
So, if someone was to write a song about you or something that's occurred in your life, what would they write about?
If they were sorry to write about myself, you just dropped out there a little bit, Kayden. Sorry.
No worries, I'll just repeat myself. That's okay. So if you were, or someone was to write a song about yourself or something that's occurred in your life, what would they write about?
Geez, that's a good question. I mean, I always like to think of myself as a fun-loving, easygoing sort of guy, and that loves his family. So I'd like to think if they were to write a song that would encompass both those two aspects, to be honest. I've got a great family. I mean, as with any family, you have your ups and downs, but you know, kids and a great wife, and you know, my mum and dad and my wife's mum and dad, we're all pretty close. So, and as I said, I like to think of myself as a pretty easygoing guy. So if they could encompass those two, I'd be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, for sure. So do you have a message for those who might be your fans or anyone listening or watching this, Ross?
Spread the good word, guys. if you like what I do, share it amongst your friends, share it amongst family. It's all about, at the moment, I'm just trying to really build my audience. So if you love what I do, and hopefully you do, yeah, spread the good word.
Yes, definitely check out Ross Webb. And I have to say, I really had a chance to listen to your music, and I really, really did like it. So
thanks so much, Kayden. Yeah, as I said, it's been a bit of a, not a battle, but as I said, it's been a long road just to sort of get to where we are at the moment. But I think where we're heading, as I said, with the new single we've got out next week, and I've got another one in the pipeline to come out shortly, I think we're sort of heading in a really good direction as far as our music and how it sounds. So
absolutely. Where can people find you on social media if they want to keep up with you and your adventures?
yeah, jump on Facebook. We listed under Ross Webb and the Rusted Track. So Rusted Track's the band that plays with me. Website as well under the same name. That literally has anywhere where we're playing. It has also videos of what we've done as far as our releases of music. And then obviously all the digital platforms such as Spotify and iTunes and so forth. That's where you can sort of find a lot of the music that we've done. So jump on there, and YouTube, of course. You know, we've got videos on sitting on YouTube.
Awesome. And Ross, is there anything that I forgot to mention that you'd like to mention before we go today?
No, not really, Kate. As I said, I'm really thankful that you've sort of got me on here. As I said, hopefully the people in the US enjoy what we do. And as I said, if we can spread the good word and sort of get different people listening to what I do around the world, that's what it's all about. Hopefully they enjoy it.
Awesome. And Ross, thank you for taking the time for coming on the Kayden Gordon Show today's Best Country Mix. We appreciate your time so much for taking the time and coming to chat with us today.
I really appreciate it, Kayden. Thanks so much.